Why, Chuckgrigsby, we are back at it. We're doing the King Project. Thank you so much for another opportunity to speak with you guys in regards to Dr. King and his great legacy. I really appreciate the support. We got a couple more days until we're done with this project, and we'll be moving on to some other things. But again, thanks for everyone giving us the great support and positive feedback when it comes to some of the different things we've discussed this whole entire month long. Today, I'm going to talk about Dr. King and his anti-stance towards the Vietnam War, which is very, very unpopular at the time. He received a lot of criticism and was really called out as being a communist and really had a lot of issues, not only through the American public, but also within his own civil rights movement. At the time, a lot of people really wanted him to still focus on education and some of the civil rights issues that were going on in America. But Dr. King, again, a man ahead of his own time, was really on another level when it came to really recognizing what was really important when it comes to what we had going on in our society. Just to give you a little background on what was going on at this time, this was the Vietnam War kicked off in 1955 and ended in 1975. So that was almost like 20 solid years that we were engaged with this conflict. Dr. King really had a lot of wisdom, insight, and had facts to really back him up for why he was involved in the anti-war effort and really really passionate about it, if you will. And again, he really moved away from civil rights to human rights when it comes to this issue. By the time the war ended, we had over 58,000 soldiers, U.S. soldiers killed. We had over 900,000 Viet Cong or Vietnamese killed. And so it was an epic conflict, if you will, over a number of years. And that's not really including the wounded. The war at a point in time was costing us $2 billion a month to really champion what was going on over there, 8,000 miles away from home. And we really got involved with a failed attempt from the French who were involved with trying to colonize the North Vietnam area, and they were really fighting for their freedom. So that's how Dr. King saw it, and he really saw how the U.S. policies really worked against those people who were really fighting for their nationalism and freedom. In 1954, Geneva Accord was implemented. We had a person by the name of DM, who was a South Vietnamese politician. Basically, from what Dr. King has said and stated, that he was really pretty much a war criminal that we backed, that really already had a history of having a lot of different atrocities on his own people when it comes to some of the different things that were going on. So Dr. King was definitely against that. You can see why he had a dog in the fight, if you will, when it comes to this issue in some ways. Again, that war between the French and the Vietnamese, that was an 8-year war that we were paying $3 billion for by the time it was over with. And that was really 80% of the cost to really get that thing going. And that was a losing war that eventually the French got out of. And then, as you well know, that we got involved with. So, when you think about moral character and you think about, the embodiment of justice, you can really see why the civil rights movement was something that he evolved with to the human rights movement when it comes to this, what he called an unjust war. It was a civil war between the people. These people were fighting for their freedom, their self-determination, and nationalism, not communism, which he was heavily criticized for as far as kind of really what his views were, which really didn't make sense to him based on some of the different research and information that I got. He basically backed it up by saying that there was no Chinese involved, there was no Russians involved with this war, it was only the Americans that were leaving home for 8,000 miles away, and they were really fighting for nationalism and liberty, and they really draw up their Declaration of Independence from their Declaration of Document of Freedom, which is from our Declaration of Independence, basically quoted it within their own constitution. So it was definitely a great example of clear nationalism in Dr. King's eyes. And that's why he really used some very colorful words, if you will, that really, I think, without having the numbers and information behind it, it really could give you a sense of him really breaking away from what we were really about as far as U.S. citizens. But he was saying things like it was objectionable and abominable, it was a spiritual death, arrogant America, and really, like I said, he was really using these words in a way to get his point across and really emphasize really the truth about what was going on. This was something that, he saw. It was a pattern of behavior through the U.S., with the 54 Accord, and how we were backing up someone that really wasn't just, and these people were really fighting for their freedom. They were already fighting colonialism from the French, and we were involved for some one reason or another, and really continued that and got involved. Like I said, it was a civil war. A lot of the criticism he got, again, was from the communistic viewpoint, if you will. He called this and addressed this very clearly. He said this is a monolithic block. So basically, it's just a monolithic block of fear that didn't exist, because what these people were doing and how they were going about it was a great example of nationalism, not communalism. So I just thought that was very well said by him. And if you go back and look at the information, you go back and look at some of the interviews, he does articulate that very, very well. He stated that he wanted to have a civil responsibility as a leader, clergyman, humanitarian. He was an advocate of peace and brotherhood. And this was a great example of someone showing that he loves America, and we need to be the moral example for everyone else in the world. So he really was not just talking off merit. He was really talking off points. He was really talking off a factual background. He was talking off basic information that was right there for everyone to see, as far as what we've been doing and some of the different things we went about going about it when it comes to the French and it comes into our involvement, and really our backing of certain people within this conflict in the Civil War. So he just thought that we were in a situation that we should not have been in. And right now, I think he was quoted saying that we're spending $500,000 a year for a soldier to be able to kill someone, and it took us $53, and we were putting $53 in a year for people in poverty. So he was definitely really making some valid points. And this whole Poor People's Campaign that he was going to do within the year of his death was really going to be something that I think was going to shut this all down. You know, he was going to have this Poor People's Campaign. It was going to be a march on Washington. He was going to have, I don't know, maybe 200,000 people sit in on Washington until we pulled our troops out. And as we all know, Dr. King was very effective with his campaigns and his movements, and he was already able to generate 250,000 people on Washington, D.C. For his I Have a Dream speech. So he was definitely very capable of really being disruptive and really having this nonviolence disruptive movement happen, and really having that many people, homeless people and people of poverty and all that kind of stuff, sitting in on Washington, I think would really been a major blow to LBJ and what they were trying to do and the agenda they were trying to push. So obviously he didn't make it to that Poor People's Campaign. He was assassinated before that happened, and you know, it was something that is a little ominous, if you will, when it came to his. I've been to the mountaintop speech the night before, and the next day that we didn't have him with us anymore. Right before the Sunday, he was going to make a big announcement about really making this campaign be in play, because that whole time up until that point, he was killed. That whole year, he was really working on this Poor People's Campaign and really generating organization throughout all over the country, and really going to different places and really getting people galvanized, if you will, to really jump in on this movement and really be effective people in this cause and really make the change and really go against this war. As you know, he was killed, and 7 years later, we eloquently pulled out of Vietnam, and really a lot of the things that he talked about, a lot of different issues that he made points for, it seems like time has really healed that image, really healed really where he was at and really what was important. So I just thought that was really, like I said, a big topic to talk about, but I also wanted to highlight some of the important things about why Dr. King was really involved with that. And I think a lot of people are not quite clear how much he was invested and why when it comes to being an anti-protester with the war. But right behind me today, I got a quick quote on there, and it basically says this: we may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. Thank you so much. It's Chuck Grigsby, GUD Worldwide. Thank you so much for the support. We got a couple more days left, like I said, in this project, and I can't wait to finish up strong with some great tidbits that we have coming for you here in the next couple of days. Take care, guys.